All right, today we are diving deep into something that connects ancient wisdom with some truly startling modern science. We're going to explore this profound link between our inner world, our feelings, and the outer world of reality, and how one might just be creating the other. It's going to be a wild ride.
So let me ask you something. What if some of the most sacred texts we have today are actually edited versions of a much older, much deeper story? And what if those original versions held a completely different understanding of our place in the universe? A story that actually gave us a direct role in shaping our world? Well, that's exactly where we're going to start. Our first stop is the ancient Hebrew book of Haggadah. Now, this is fascinating because it contains texts that were actually removed from other major religious documents. And it gives us this incredibly detailed story about the creation of humankind, a story that suggests we are so much more powerful than we've ever been led to believe. Now, have a look at this. The contrast here is just amazing. On one side, you have the short, familiar version from the book of Genesis. Man was formed from dust. Simple enough. But then you look at the Haggadah, and it gives us this rich, detailed story. It describes humanity as a living bridge, this unique mix of the angelic and the earthly, given very specific powers from both worlds. It's a total game changer in how we see ourselves. And this quote right here, this really drives the point home. The Haggadah texts say that while everything else was created by a command, by a word, humanity was formed directly by the hand of God. That single idea sets us apart, It suggests this unique, intimate relationship with the very forces that create the universe. So, what are these powers? Well, the Haggadah tells us we inherited 4 from the angelic realm. First, the power of speech, which can heal or destroy. Then there's a discriminating intellect, the ability to think about consequences before we act. Our upright walk, which frees our hands to create and comfort. And finally, the power in the glance of our eyes, which can literally offer love and support or bring someone to their knees. But remember, we're a bridge to the earth too. So we were given 4 powers that angels don't have. The ability to eat and drink to fuel our bodies, the ability to, process that fuel, the power to create new life, and last, the choice of death. According to these texts, we are the only beings in all of creation that have this incredible marriage of heaven and earth inside of us. Okay, so this idea of being deeply connected to the world, it isn't just in the Haggadah. Turns out a ton of ancient traditions describe a kind of unseen web, a field of energy that connects everything and everyone together. This is a truly universal idea. You see it everywhere once you start looking. From the Hopi traditions in the American Southwest, talking about Spider Grandmother weaving the web of creation, all the way to the Buddhist sutras describing Indra's net. It's the same beautiful idea that we're all connected through some unseen force, and what we do in our inner world really does affect the outer world. Now, as a scientist myself, I've got to ask the question, this is a beautiful, powerful idea, but is it just a nice story? Has modern science, with all of our fancy tools, ever found any actual proof that a web like this exists? Well, this is where things get really, really interesting. I'm going to walk you through 3 experiments, all from the early 1990s. And on their own, they're pretty cool. But when you put them together, wow. They tell this incredible story that seems to prove what the ancients were saying all along. Seriously, these experiments are shaking the very foundations of Western science. Okay, let's break this one down. First, a Russian quantum biologist named Vladimir Poponin creates a total vacuum in a glass tube. Inside, you've got these little particles of light, photons, just scattered all over the place, totally random. Then, he puts a sample of human DNA into the tube, and get this, the photons suddenly arrange themselves. They line up with the DNA. But here's the real shocker. He takes the DNA out, and the photons stay in formation. It's like the DNA left behind an invisible blueprint. They ended up calling this the DNA phantom effect. I mean, the lab notes themselves called it surprising and counterintuitive, and it forced them to conclude that some new field of energy had to be at play. So for the very first time under lab conditions, we saw that our DNA has a direct, measurable effect on the very stuff our world is made of. Now for the second piece of the puzzle. In 1993, the US Army did this incredible experiment. They took a DNA sample from a volunteer's mouth and put it in a device that could measure its electrical response. Then, in a totally separate room in the same building, they showed the volunteer a bunch of videos designed to trigger strong emotions. And what they found was just astonishing. As the volunteer felt those emotional highs and lows, their DNA, in the other room, showed the exact same peaks and valleys at the exact same moment.
And listen, this wasn't just in the same building. They did follow-up experiments where the person and their cells were separated by up to 300 miles. And the effect was still the same. It was instantaneous. There was no travel time, no lag. That defies conventional physics. It means that somehow that person and their DNA are still connected through an energy that just doesn't care about time or Which brings us to our third experiment, this one from the HeartMath Institute. They asked a simple question. Can deep, heartfelt feeling actually affect our DNA? So they took some human DNA, put it in a test tube, and then had people who were trained to generate coherent emotions. We're talking focused, stable feelings like gratitude and love, and had them project those feelings at the DNA. The results? The DNA physically changed its shape. And check this out. This shows you exactly how it works. When they felt positive emotions like gratitude and love, the DNA strands actually relaxed and unwound. Now, this is huge because a relaxed DNA strand means a better immune response. But when they felt negative emotions like anger and fear, the DNA tightened up, it contracted, and it shut down key biological functions. Our feelings are directly changing our biology at a molecular level. So, we've got these three incredible, seemingly separate experiments. But when we put them all together, they tell one single, powerful story about our ability to literally participate in creating our reality. So come on, let's connect the dots. Okay, piece number one, the DNA phantom experiment. It showed us that our DNA has a direct influence on the fundamental particles of our world, the energy all around us. It's creating a blueprint in the quantum field. Okay, piece number two. The HeartMath experiment. It proved that our feelings, our emotions, are the instructions that tell our DNA how to shape that energy. The kind of emotion we feel changes the shape of our DNA, which changes the blueprint. And finally, the third piece, the ARMY experiment. This is the mind-bending part. It showed us that this connection isn't limited by space or time. It's non-local. It exists everywhere, all at once, which means the blueprints you are creating with your feelings, they aren't just happening inside your body. This quote from the actual published report says it all. And the key word here is intentionally. This isn't random, it's a conscious, focused power that we all have. Through the quality of the feeling we create in our own hearts, we can intentionally influence our biology, which in turn influences the world around us. So, this all leads us to one incredibly powerful question. If modern science is actually confirming what ancient traditions have told us for thousands of years, that there is an energy that connects everything, and our feelings are speaking directly to that energy through our DNA, then we are all participating in creation every single moment of every single day. The only question left is, what reality are you choosing to create?